Inside the secretariat, whatever you see or hear never leaves this room, not even with your family. For 5 years, she served as Kim Jong-un's personal secretary and elite raised in Pyongyang's Jong district, a top graduate of Kim Il-sung University, handpicked from the best of the best. Her job wasn't just to take notes. It was to manufacture reality drafting approved documents every day, rewriting reports until the truth disappeared, and signing off on lies that would become official history. Then people started vanishing. A colleague who shared lunch with her one day was gone the next. No explanation, no name spoken again. The State Security Department's surveillance tightened like a noose. Cameras, informants, sudden routine interviews. Even her breathing felt monitored. And in the middle of polished offices and carefully staged meetings, she began to witness things she was never supposed to know. Truths so forbidden that even thinking them could be fatal. So why would someone with status, education, and proximity to power throw it all away? What exactly did she see that shattered her loyalty? And how did she manage to escape a system designed to make leaving impossible? I was born in 1996 in Jong District, Pyongyang. My father was a party official. My mother was a teacher. We lived on the 10th floor of an apartment building, with a view of the Taedong River. In North Korea, where you're born can decide your entire life. I still remember walking along the Taedong River as a child. In spring, the willow trees would bud. I'd hold my mother's hand as we walked. She always said, "Minju, being born in the capital, is a blessing you don't even understand." I had an older brother, 4 years ahead of me. He was my pride. Then, in 2015, he died during military service. An accident, they said. He was 25. My parents' grief swallowed the house. My mother cried every night. Even with that loss hanging over us, I buried myself in school. In 2014, I entered Kim Il-sung University in the Foreign Languages and Literature Department. My English scores were always at the top. In the spring of 2018, my senior year, a supervisor called me in. "Comrade Park Minju," he said, "there's an opportunity for you, a very special assignment." At 22, I was selected for a special post in the Supreme Leader's Secretariat. Dozens applied nationwide. Only 3 were chosen. My parents stood in front of my brother's memorial photo and wept. "Your sister has been granted a great honor," they told him. Back then, it felt like happiness. Food wasn't a worry. Rations weren't a worry. When I visited my parents, my mother's tofu soup and kimchi were waiting for me. The night before my first day, excitement and fear fought inside my chest. My mother woke up early and cooked seaweed soup for good luck. I didn't know then what that honor would put in front of my eyes. I didn't know one truth could split my life in half. It was July 2, 2018, the day I reported for my first shift as Kim Jong-un's personal secretary. At 7:30 a.m., a black sedan arrived. A state security officer drove. We passed checkpoint after checkpoint, layers of inspection. The air felt tighter than any Blue House Cheongwa day, South Korea's presidential office security I'd ever heard described. At the Secretariat, I was assigned a desk, less than 10 meters from the Supreme Leader's office. A senior secretary leaned in. "Whatever you see here," she said, "whatever you hear, never speak it outside, not even to family." My work was translation of foreign correspondence, organizing schedules and managing documents. From the first day, paperwork poured in like floodwater. Every page was stamped top secret. Then I saw the office. I froze. On television, the leader was always shown as modest, simple, living like the people. But this room wasn't modest at all. Swiss furniture, a French chandelier, a German coffee machine. There was nothing simple about it. At lunch, the Secretariat cafeteria served Japanese Wagyu beef. The rice was bright and glossy. There were more than 10 side dishes. A thought slipped in before I could stop it. How are people living outside Pyongyang? A friend from college, from Hamgyong province, used to say corn rice wasn't even guaranteed. I forced the thought down. No, this is just proper treatment for people handling state affairs. That night, I called my parents. Mom, I said, I'm okay. Her voice softened with relief. Good, my daughter. Work hard for the country. But sleep wouldn't come. That glittering office, that heavy meal. Something sat in my chest like a small stone. It was the first crack. About a year later, in the fall of 2019, I was organizing a report from North Hamgyong Province. It was titled Agricultural Production Status Report. My hands started shaking the moment I opened it. Estimated starvation deaths this year, 800. Patients with malnutrition-related illness, 3,000 sonoders. 800. 800 people had died of hunger. But just days earlier, television had declared a bumper harvest. Then something even worse happened. A senior secretary took the document. She pulled out a red pen. She changed the numbers. Starvation deaths, 30. Malnutrition patients, 200. Then she added a line, overall agricultural performance is excellent. I asked, barely above a whisper, is that correct? Her answer was ice cold. Our job isn't to record the truth. Our job is to produce what the state needs. That night, sleep didn't come at all. 800. Those people had parents, children, someone waiting for them. The lie felt like poison spreading through my veins. In early 2020, COVID swept across the world. Reports from the border with China came in daily. Dozens of cases a day. The official announcement stayed the same, 0 cases. One day, an emergency report arrived from North Pyongan Province. Sinwiju area mass COVID outbreak. Death toll exceeds 200. The next day, Korean Central Television said this. Our republic is a perfectly safe, clean zone, free from COVID. My skin went cold. 200 people were dead, yet the country was perfectly safe. People starved. People got sick. People disappeared. And we ate Wagyu behind locked doors. At lunch, I tried to speak to a coworker. Oni is what we do, really, right? She slapped her hand over my mouth. Shh! Don't say that! There are no walls here without ears. That evening, walking home, I drifted toward the Taedong River. The same path I walked with my mother as a child. The river looked the same, but it didn't feel the same. Maybe it wasn't the water that had changed. Maybe it was me. Nightmares started after that. Starving faces staring at me. Piles of forged documents stacking higher and higher. No matter how fast I worked, the mountain grew. Something inside me was collapsing. In the spring of 2021, a male co-worker vanished. He was 26, quiet, reliable. The day before, he'd smiled and greeted everyone like normal. The next morning, his desk was empty. A few days later, rumors spread. He had watched a South Korean drama. Someone reported him to the Bawibu State Security Police. They said he was sent to a political prison camp. After that, the air in the office changed. No one trusted anyone. Even at lunch, voices dropped to a whisper. In the restroom, nobody spoke, not even to themselves. Surveillance tightened. Once a month, there was an ideological inspection. Have you had any unusual thoughts recently? I shook my head. No, but my heart hammered so hard it hurt. Then I learned something worse. They were watching families too. One day, a security officer summoned me. Comrade Park Minju, who did your mother meet recently at the Jangmadang? The informal market. They had been tailing my mother. That night I ran to my parents' home. Mom, I said, don't meet people outside. Be careful. She looked confused. Why? What's going on? My father studied my face. Minju, is your work that dangerous? You're losing weight. You don't look well. Later, alone in my room, the question wouldn't leave me. Is this a place where humans live? A country where one mistake can drag you into a prison camp. A country where you suspect your co-workers and your own parents are monitored. They called it the People's Paradise, but everything about it felt like a cage. From that point on, fear became my daily routine. What if I made one typo? One wrong line? What if they could somehow read my thoughts? I'd wake in the night, sitting straight up, convinced someone was knocking. When I opened the door, no one was there. Even my mother's tofu soup stopped going down easily. Little by little, I was breaking. How long can a person live like this? In the winter of 2023, the call came that changed everything. My father's voice was frantic. Minju, your mother collapsed. Come now. My mother lay in bed, pale, gasping. The doctor looked away. Her heart is failing. She needs medication. Then he said the words that crushed me. There is no heart medicine here. You need Chinese medicine. 300 U.S. dollars. $300 might as well have been a mountain. I couldn't earn it in a year. I did whatever I could. I found one bottle barely. It was only a month's supply. She needs at least 6 months, they said. That night, holding her hand, I cried until my throat burned. I worked steps away from power. I ate imported meat. Yet I couldn't secure one bottle of medicine to keep my mother alive. Something inside me snapped. A coworker disappeared into a prison camp. My mother was dying without medicine. This wasn't life. That's when the decision formed, clear and final. I would escape. Quietly, I found a Chinese broker. On a business trip excuse, I used a public phone to make contact. I want out, I said. He named the price. 5,000 U.S. dollars. For 6 months, I saved every cent. I skipped lunches. I sold special rations at the Jangmadang. In April 2024, I finally gathered the full amount. The hardest part wasn't the money. It was lying to my parents. On the evening of May 2nd, I visited them one last time. Minju, my mother asked, "What brings you here?" I forced a smile. "I'm leaving tomorrow on a provincial trip. It'll take about a month." She made tofu soup, the one I loved most. I ate slowly, one spoonful at a time, because a thought kept pressing against my ribs. This might be the last time. That night, I stood before my brother's memorial photo. "Appa, I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm leaving. Please watch over Mom and Dad." "Please," I bowed. Before dawn the next day, I left home with one small bag. I didn't look back. My feet felt like stone as I headed for Pyongyang Station. On the morning of May 3rd, I boarded a train to Sinwiju. I had official travel documents, so I passed inspections. Still, my heart slammed against my ribs the entire time. The train ran for 8 hours. Outside the window, barren fields, collapsing houses, hollow faces, people who looked like hunger itself. The land I was leaving felt unbearably sad. At Sinwiju Station, I followed the address the broker gave me. A rundown one-story house. 3 others were there, a middle-aged man, a young woman, and a child about 10. "At 1,000 eep? The broker spoke. "We move now. Leave your extra bags behind." We walked into darkness, toward the outskirts, toward the river. We reached the bank around 11:30 p. The broker lowered his voice. "You must cross. Patrol passes every 15 minutes. When I signal run," a flashlight beam swept by. The broker's hand snapped up. "Now, go!" We rushed into the water. Even in May, it was ice cold. The water climbed to my waist. The ground underfoot was slick. The child slipped and screamed. Time stopped. A whistle shrieked in the distance. They had noticed. "Move!" the broker hissed. I lunged forward, legs burning. Gunshots cracked behind us. Bang, bang. I didn't turn around. Only one thought kept me moving. Live. For my mother. For my brother. My feet hit land. China. When I finally looked back, the child and the young woman were gone. The broker's face tightened. "No time," he said. "We go." We ran through the night. My clothes were soaked. My body shook. But stopping wasn't an option. After about an hour, we reached a house. "Rest here," he said. Inside the room, I collapsed. When I closed my eyes, the child's face flashed in the dark. Tears came without permission. How much had been left behind just so I could survive? But there was no going back. I had crossed. I looked up and prayed to my brother. "Appa, I made it. Please protect Mom and Dad." That was the moment North Korea ended for me. 28 years of life gone behind one river. I hid in Dandong, in the home of an elderly ethnic Korean woman in her 60s. She took me in like a daughter. "Aigo," she kept saying. Our own blood suffering like this. During the Korean War, I lost an older brother. He stayed in the north. She fed me warm meals, gave me clean clothes, tucked the blanket around me at night. Her hands felt like my mother's hands. That made it worse. But China wasn't safe. China and North Korea had an agreement to send defectors back. If caught, it meant a political prison camp. One day, the woman rushed in, breathless. "Minju Public Security are searching this neighborhood. You have to go. Tonight." That night, a South Korean missionary arrived. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll get you to South Korea safely." He drove me toward the Vietnam border. For 2 days, we traveled. At every checkpoint, I held my breath until my lungs hurt. We reached Hanoi on May 21st. I hid for a week. Then he secured a bus ticket to Thailand. "Bangkok has the South Korean embassy," he said. The bus ride from Hanoi to Bangkok took 2 days. Every border crossing felt like stepping onto thin ice. On May 29th, we arrived in Bangkok. The missionary gave me the embassy address. "This is it," he said. "From here, you go alone. Be brave." I bowed to him. "You saved my life." He smiled. "We're the same people. When you reach South Korea, live well." On the morning of May 31st, I stood in front of the South Korean embassy. The Taegukgi flag rippled in the wind. For a long time, I just stared at it. Then I knocked. A staff member opened the door. "What is this about?" My voice shook. "I'm from North Korea. I'm a defector. I want protection as a citizen of the Republic of Korea." They led me inside. Questions followed. Pyongyang upbringing. The secretariat. Being Kim Jong-un's personal secretary. My mother. My decision. I waited for a week. Every day, I prayed. "Please let me go." On June 7th, approval came. "Your flight ticket is issued. You leave tomorrow." My legs gave out. I sank to the floor and cried. I was alive. I was really alive. On June 8th, 2024, I arrived at Incheon International Airport. Stepping off the plane, my knees trembled. Is this real? Officials from South Korea's Ministry of Unification were waiting. "You will receive 3 months of resettlement education at Hanawon," they said. "We'll help you." On the bus to Hanawon, the view outside felt unreal. Tall buildings, smooth roads, endless cars. At night, the city lights didn't flicker. They glowed. Hanawon was unfamiliar, but it was warm. We learned South Korean history, democracy, job training. The shock that stayed with me most was simple. You could criticize the president and not be arrested. The first time I entered a convenience store, I felt dizzy. Open 24 hours. Shelves overflowing. Cup noodles. Triangle kimbap. Drinks of every kind. Things I had only seen on holidays in the north were suddenly everywhere, anytime. I searched YouTube for news about North Korea. The truths we had buried inside the secretariat were already out in the open. In September, I completed Hanawon and started a new life in Seoul. I worked an office job at a small company. The pay wasn't much, but it was honest money. No lies, no forged reports. Even the language felt slightly different at first. "Minju," someone told me, "your way of speaking is a little unique." But I adapted. It was still Korean. Every time I bought fruit at the supermarket, tears threatened. Apples, pears, grapes. I kept thinking, I want to buy these for my mother. I think about my parents every night. How are they living now? Do they know I escaped? There's no way to contact them. That helplessness is its own kind of torture. I began testifying with North Korean human rights groups. I was Kim Jong-un's personal secretary, I told them. I will testify about what I saw. At first, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Now, I speak with my head up. There are still about 25 million people in North Korea. They are starving, watched, trapped, a life without freedom. We are the same people. We should not live such different lives. I want reunification. I want to see it in my lifetime. I want to meet my parents again. I want to walk the Taedong River with them together. Freedom is not free. Don't forget how precious the freedom you have is. Even now I pray for my parents' health, for the freedom of North Korean people, and for the day reunification finally comes. Thank you.